So someone sent me this clip and I was listening to it and I was halfway through the clip and I was like, okay, so far he's actually making some good points. And then he lost me. So let's go ahead and get into that. He's talking here about how the U.S. is getting ripped off because of the conflict in Ukraine. Like I said, he starts off great and then he loses me. Let's dive in.
All right, Saagar, what are you looking at?
Well, it's been nearly 180 days since Russia invaded Ukraine, 6 full months of war, the likes of which we have not seen on the European continent since World War II. In the early days of the war, certain things were not allowed to be debated in the public square in the West, such as, is it a good idea to pull the ripcord on the global petroleum market for the Russian invasion of Ukraine? How long should the West pay high gas prices? Will our sanctions have the intended effect? What is our end goal? Is it in Ukraine? Is it total Ukrainian military victory? Is it a stalemate? If so, what kind? What is our diplomatic end goal? Militarily, what does that even look like? In terms of the weapons that we're shipping them month after month, are we sure?
So far, again, I think that's a good question. What is the end goal? Does anybody know? Anyone in the chat? Has the U.S. government explained what the end goal is supposed to be for the United States? Stay with me, though. Like I said, he starts off good, and then it goes south.
They're being used as intended? Are we sure they will stay in the right hands if they even make it to them at all? Do we have a plan in place to ensure stability, not just temporary military victory? Now, of course, we asked all those questions on this show, and of course, not one of them was ever entertained by the U.S. Congress. In general, the media and the political establishment smeared you as a Putin apologist if you asked even one of those questions, not that I particularly care. Now,
he's right about that point, too. If you start asking questions about the money going over there, if you start asking what he just said, what's the end goal, what is supposed to become of all of this? Yeah, some people will come out and smear you. Big Mad Crab just, yeah, right. Ukraine is going to be the new Afghanistan. Exactly. He's right. On that point, he's right. Let's go, though. Let's continue.
At its core, the case for defending Ukraine by the West was simple, all those questions aside. We must stand up to Putin in Ukraine so he and other autocratic countries do not feel emboldened to go further and threaten our NATO allies who either share a border with Russia or are nearby. Okay. Now, much was made of the transatlantic alliance, not only between the US and the UK, but France, Germany, and the rest of the continent. The pledge was made by this so-called United West for everyone to step up and take action. There is just one problem. Just like at the core of the NATO alliance, there has been a rot for decades. The same problem has now reared its head with respect to the Ukrainian conflict. July, for example, was a rough month for Ukraine and for the West policy. July saw record profits by Russia from oil. Ukraine definitively lost a major military campaign in the east, and it was regrouping for an offensive to retake territory. The U.S. recognized this by passing and sending billions of dollars of military aid to Ukraine. Now, you would think then, well, the rest of the European countries, since we're all united, we're all in this together, are stepping up too. That's actually completely wrong. In fact, new data tells us that not only did they not even send any of the piddly support they had previously.
Has anyone else noticed that? That it seems like the only people that's really out there supporting them right now, at least financially especially, has been the United States? Anybody else notice this? Where are all the other allies? Why are they getting the same amount of money from other countries? Or are they just hounding us? This was something I pointed out a while back. I'm like, why are we, what are we, a bank? Now, that is not to say that I am not sympathetic with what is happening to people over there. I am. But we're not a bank. We can't even fix problems in our own country, but we have money to go send it to another country to help fix their problems. Someone make that make sense to me. If your family is struggling financially, struggling to put food on the table, and you get extra money, are you going to give that money to some stranger that you don't know, or are you going to feed your family first? Most people are going to feed their family first. The United States government doesn't want to feed its people first. The United States government doesn't want to give everybody in this country health care first. But part of that aid package that went to Ukraine was for health care. I pointed that out a couple of weeks ago. We went through the numbers. Shout out to Glenn Greenwald because he was the one that called it out. It's not just for weapons. There's other items as well. Healthcare, food, clean drinking water was one of the items. We don't have clean drinking water. But wait for it.
But that Europe's 6 greatest powers and largest economies did not send €1 of bilateral military aid in the entire month of July. Those powers include the UK, France, Germany, Spain, and Italy, and Poland, all of which have far more to lose from any general war in Europe than we do, and who literally are both closer to Russia, but have fought wars with them for hundreds of years prior.
Dude, we're not even in the same, we're not even in the same space. We're across the pond. Like what? We're not even there. And the countries that are right next to them, where are they? Where's the help?
And as shocking as a zero figure is, it's even more shocking when you look at things in terms of absolute aid. In terms of overall aid, the United States to date has provided Ukraine with 25 billion euros of military aid so far. No other country even comes close to 1/5 of that.
Let's pause it right here. Look at the map. I can't make this up, you guys. Do you see this? Okay. Dark blue greater than 75%. Look at all the money. What is hell? What? Huh.
Yes, you heard me correctly. The only ones who even though approach the 1/5 figure is the United Kingdom, which has sent 4 billion euros of aid. After that, there are so-called EU institutions, which barely count since they're supposed to represent like 29 different countries, and Poland, and they have provided 1.8 billion. Germany, the 4th largest economy on Earth, a so-called great ally of the US, which has the biggest GDP on the continent, has sent 1.2 billion. France, the 7th largest economy, the 2nd largest European power, has sent 0.23 billion. Italy has sent 0.15, which
I just want to jump in here and say Germany and France and Italy said, look, I don't know what this is all about, but we're going to take care of our own people first. You hear me? Germany, Italy, and France said, look, we are going to take care of our own first. Whatever we got left after that, that's what you're going to get.
Means to date, the United States has provided more military aid to Ukraine than all of the European continent combined. So I compose a very simple question. If this is a war against Putin aggression, why should the United States care more about peace in Europe and the greatest powers on the European continent? Unless the so-called European powers know that they don't actually have to do anything, they continue to subsidize their vast welfare states, and that we will continue to foot the bill because of our politicians, media, and establishment class are far dumber than theirs are. What made things especially comical is as I was writing this monologue, an announcement came across the wire. The Department of Defense has announced we will provide an additional $775 million in military aid to Ukraine to mark the 6-month anniversary of the war. Those include HIMARS rocket systems, artillery, ammunition, drones, and mine-resistant troop vehicles. This $775 million in aid outstrips entire European nations on the continent in dollar terms, and just another routine resupply by the United States. The simple fact is, the U.S. is getting ripped off to a historic degree by the people who are supposedly such great allies. They talk a big game, they appear at the conferences, they say it's all about them and about us, but when the bill comes due, we are the only people paying it. And here's the thing, our payment may cost us big time in the future. A Pentagon official recently revealed shocking information before Congress, which nobody in the press thought to warn the American people about. The United States supply of Javelin anti-tank missiles is currently at a full, reduced 1/3 capacity because of the support for Ukraine, and will take years to replace that stock. Our supply of Stinger missiles is also reduced by 1/4. The Stinger missiles in particular are a problem because they literally are not in production anymore. Raytheon CEO says that if you want them back, our production line, it will take almost 18 months to even begin.
Spencer, I see you. I should be ready in like a couple minutes, okay? I'm just wrapping up a story. So what was really funny about this to me is that it was almost like he just realized that nobody else is stepping up to help. That's why this was kind of funny to me. It's just like, I guess it just hit him that everybody's kind of looking at us to come to the rescue. We're not a bank. I'm sorry, but wait for it. It gets worse.
Furthermore, while everyone is worried about Ukraine, we also have interest in Asia, where Stinger missile deliveries for Taiwan that were scheduled had to be pushed back because of Ukraine. Now,
yikes. Do you guys see the problem, the cringe moment I had with this discussion? Everything that he was saying about the money was spot on. Billions and billions of dollars that are going over there. And we seem to be the only one that's really stepping up and is giving more money. He was going in the right direction. But then towards the end of this video, he still wants to have war. Did you catch that? Look, wait a minute. Here we go.
Really are not in production anymore. Raytheon CEO says that if you want them back, our production line, it will take almost 18 months to even begin. Furthermore, while everyone is worried about Ukraine, we also have interest in Asia, where Stinger missile deliveries for Taiwan that were scheduled had to be pushed back because of Ukraine. Now tell me.
Did you hear that? He's still advocating for war. That's the problem. Everything up until that point was spot on. And that's when he lost me. Ay. I don't know what to say.